We are on week 8, can you believe it, of Stud Talk. Our guest is Matt Ray, and he's fabulous. I think all of y'all are probably following him on Instagram.
I love Matt.
Such a hot guy, so sweet. We had a wonderful chat yesterday, and so I'm looking forward to him joining us here in a little bit. He's actually in the Houston area right now, and so we're going to get to talk about that a little bit. But let's get it going with some of our questions. And Ricky, yes, yours is first up. What was the single most difficult task to overcome breaking into the model industry after leaving the art and lawyer's life behind? Let me show the picture and then I'll try to answer this as best I can. But Ricky, this is such a good question that I spent a long time, and I'm still not exactly sure what my answer is going to be, but we'll see.
My brain.
So what this picture is, I was proud of myself for sort of remembering to take a picture when this was happening. If you were to zoom in or whatever, like that's actually me. I have a CPA who's also an attorney, and she worked with my former business when I ran that business for like 12 years. So I used her to help form my company. And so what I'm filling out the paperwork to form Seersucker Stud LLC. And I took a picture just to send it. I texted it to my mom and to my brother. Like, I don't think I even put it like on Facebook or anything, but that actually is when the company is sort of being formed right there. Like also on my, and that's where I'm sitting right now. Like I'm there. And those are some labels like all to the left of my computer. Like I have some Seersucker Stud labels where if I need to mail anything. I'm real like that. Like I like to have a lot of like I have letterhead, like that, like means a lot to me in business.
Yeah. Neat.
But this is such a hard question. First off, I want to clarify. I don't really consider myself to be in the model industry. Like I really don't. Like like our guest last week, y'all, like Johnzu, like he's a model. Like he has an agent, he gets booked, they pay him. Like this is a wonderful passion of mine where like I book photographers, I compensate them for their time. And so the modeling now is really just sort of a home base, I would say, for overall content creation. So I'm now trying to get more broad with my stuff, like, you know, this YouTube channel, I'm starting to get a little more active on TikTok.
Yeah, I've seen that.
To answer your question, the hardest thing, well, also one more clarifier, sorry. I never really leave anything behind. Like all of my lawyer stuff and a lot of the things that I've learned from that, as well as the art business, are still very much a part of me. So yes, of course I've left like those actual jobs, but I bring all of that skill sets with me. It was a confidence issue. I mean, even when I was at a really top law firm that was very well thought of, I still had a team, you know, and I still had people that, you know, like my boss that I was working for and mentors. And then in my former business, you know, it was a partnership. It was me and my husband, and we could count on each other to blah, blah, blah. But with this, it's just me. And so that was the thing. And I'm like very, very confident, self-assured person, but still age 43, different kind of non-traditional business, risk involved. that was the issue. Like I would say the thing I had to overcome was just a confident, like making sure I had the wherewithal to really kind of go for it. And it just took me a little while to get there, but I did. Hey, all right. So this is probably the dirtiest one. Of course, David asked the dirty one. What's the most unusual place you've had sex? So I had to think really hard about this one because I've had some good, interesting places where I've had sex. But the one that I thought was probably most interesting is in a storage unit.
Okay.
And I'll tell the story, like, and it was really hot actually. So it was with my ex. I mean, it was with my ex-husband, and so he is a very prolific artist, like lots of paintings. And so even though we had a large home and gallery, like we had to have off-site storage for artwork and all this. And we actually had 2 storage units, and one of them was like inside, like you walked inside and it would be like inside of a building on a hallway. And the other one though was sort of on the outside, like, you know, like cars could drive by and like people could drive by. So we actually had sex in that one with the door, with it open.
Oh.
So, I mean, we were sort of obviously keeping a lookout, but yeah, that was a good one. That was a really good one. We also had sex because I had to. Well, now I'm going to share a few more because I had to think about the answer. So we, for a long time, he used to do art festivals. Y'all ever been to an art festival? Like there's a huge one in Houston that is in the spring and the fall called Bayou City. And, you know, they set up these beautiful tents where you go and you can go into the tent and look at the paintings and all that. So I've definitely had sex in a tent, an art tent. And it was sort of like when the festival was happening. But it started raining, so people kind of closed their tents. But that was a good one. And I just wanted to touch on this because David, another one of your questions was what's on your bucket list? And I have one that sort of ties in to this question. So, and I don't know, this is just me being a total whore or whatever, but since I was like a young adult, I really had this in my head. Maybe it's because I'm a competitive person. I don't know what it is, but I've really always wanted to have sex on all 7 continents, and I've gotten 6. Like it's just Antarctica. Like I got to figure out the Antarctica one, but I've got 6 so far. Yeah, we went to New Zealand in 2017, and so that got Oceania, whatever. Like I knocked that one off. But yeah, 6 so far. So I answered that bucket list. There he is.
Look at that cool guy.
Look at that guy. Y'all, if you are not following Matt, I think all of y'all are. There's his Instagram handle. Very, very sexy guy on Instagram. So please follow him. Matt, I picked this one because I straight up loved it, and you're so sexy in this robe, or it just looks mega comfortable. Where are you? What's happening here?
I'm in my house on my couch, feeling very relaxed, and thought this is a moment. I have some nice morning light coming onto me. It was a good lighting. I thought, you can't miss that. Gotta grab one of those.
And so it's in San Francisco, right?
San Francisco, right?
And I don't know San Francisco real well, but what part of San Francisco?
I'm a little south of the city. I'm just outside the city in Daly City. It's outside of the city by about 2 blocks, so it's just right there. But it's a little south. It's a little foggy, but it's nice, beautiful.
I've only been a couple of times. Like my last semester of law school my ex and I went to San Francisco for a week and had a great time. And then I went to a wedding in Napa 2 years ago, and then spent one night in the Castro and had a black. Like, it was fun as shit. But,
Napa. I mean, the older we get, the more I'm like, Napa sounds better to me at the moment. You know, I like a nice glass of wine and just sitting out in the beautiful, warm. You know, I don't know. It's all good. You can go everywhere from San Francisco. You can go ski in 3 hours. You can be at the beach. You can go to Napa and have that experience. It's really, really nice that way.
So one of my best girlfriends, like, have I mentioned to you that I'm planning this conference next month? Like,
yes.
Yes. So the girl that's the other co-chair with me, her husband just got a big job like a year ago at Stanford. He's a doctor, like head of their anesthesiology or some shit. So they live in Palo Alto.
Right.
And it's exactly what you're talking about. Like, every other weekend, they're like climbing mountains and crazy shit. So
yeah, it's nice.
Very nice. So on our program, we like to give away a little money, and you have picked a very, very worthy nonprofit. Matt, can you tell us a little bit why you picked Planned Parenthood?
I picked Planned Parenthood because they're under fire so much across the country, and especially with these disinformation campaigns that the Republican Party have been spinning to just try and assert some kind of power over women because they don't like women. And I hate to paint with a broad brush, but they don't like women, and they don't trust women to make their own decisions in their life. So I think that it's a worthy cause, and it's something that is very needed right now.
This is not a nonpartisan talk show, so you are free to express all of those opinions, which I agree with.
I happened to just be in the steam room at the tennis club, so I was sitting in there, and there was a young guy in there with me. He's probably 30, and I'm 59. So he, I was not starting politics because I know that my views are opposite everyone here. So I was just talking about something, and I don't know how it just went everywhere. And he was like, well, this dementia president that we have now and our drug addict vice president. I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, I mean, we had 4 great years. Now we got this. I said, 4 great years of what? Pathological lying and mafiosi tactics? And he was like, what? And I was just like, uh-oh, I've actually got to go because I got this interview thing. So, it was a mess. But I forget, when you live in San Francisco, probably the same as if you're a conservative living in Texas, you forget that everyone doesn't think the way you do. Because San Francisco, I think they voted for Hillary by about 95%. They voted for Biden by about 99%. So we don't have any Trump people at all, like none. So it's hard to remember that there are actually people out there that thought he was doing a great job. So this guy was like, he was the best president we've ever had. And I said, oh, like I said, I gotta go.
First of all, I would like to apologize on behalf of the entire city of Houston that you have.
I used to live here. I'm a native Texan, so I do understand.
Let's take this off for a second. But do you follow any Houston politics at all? Like,
I was very big into politics when I was here. Ann Richards was the governor, which was a golden era as far as I'm concerned. Kathy Whitmire was the mayor.
Yeah.
Lila Cochran was the mayor in San Antonio. We had women running everything, and it was so good.
Yeah.
And I moved when she lost to Bush. I moved, and not because of that, but I just happened to. And so it's been worse every single year, I think. I don't think you can do much worse than Dan Patrick. But I do like Sylvester Turner. I think he's, So, I mean, I do know about Houston politics, yes.
You do know some Houston
politics. I love Denise Parker, of course.
I love Anise, but I love Sylvester Turner. I'm a big fan. But I was just going to say for our other guests, Houston is definitely a blue island in the state of Texas. And, Matt running into this guy at the club can happen. But in Houston, I would say that would be a little bit weird.
Well, I know Houston pretty well. What I would say is I'm from Dallas originally. I lived in Houston for 10 years as well. I would say Dallas is, you need to be straight white Christian male and you're golden. Houston is live and let live, mind your own business. And they don't care what you do, mind your own business. And don't tell anyone, they don't want to hear a lot about it. And that's okay by me. So, it's always been like they voted for Anise Parker, this lesbian, for a number of terms. They didn't want to hear her talking about being a lesbian, but they were fine with her being a lesbian.
Right.
And at the end, when she kind of was on her last term, she kind of settled a few things like, and by the way, and they're like, oh, this is what we were afraid of. Now she wants to have the transgenders doing blah, blah, blah.
Well, it was terrible. I guess you obviously followed our y'all, just to let everybody know, Houston is like the only city in fucking America that does not have an equal rights ordinance. Like we don't have
It was
one.
a disaster. The whole
We don't have one, period. And what happened is a lot of other major American cities or smaller American cities like have had one forever to protect like the normal classes like race and gender and all these things on a local level. And Houston never got around to having one. And so
they very pointedly didn't have one because they had people with the Bible throwing scriptures which way and catching one the other way. And,
so
that meeting was a nightmare. I watched that meeting live on TV.
Oh, I went to testify down. I testified.
You testify, boy. You do it.
I gave testimony. Like if you're in the gay community and you didn't go downtown and give testimony for Hero, you're blackballed.
After college, I came out.
Yeah.
When I came out, every one said, don't ever speak to me again. I lost every single friend I had. And it was rough. I had to start over from zero at my late 20s. For me, sports was how I rebuilt my life as far as friends and things. My buddy I'm staying at this house here, we've been like best pals for 33 years. We met through tennis. Almost every friend I have, I've met through tennis. First it was gay tennis, and then it was just tennis, writ large. But it's had a huge influence on my life and really changed everything for me. So it's good, it's nice to have friends that love you for who you are and in spite of who you are as well. Real friends. And it was sad to know that my friends that I thought were really close friends that I'd had for my high school and college could so easily do that, but it was a harsh lesson in judgment and how dispensable and how disposable I felt, and it was tough.
How was it with your family?
They were, my family loves me and I love them, but they didn't like it. They weren't thrilled, but they weren't the types to say, you're dead to me or anything like that. Yeah. But my dad didn't go to church. Everyone else did. And when I came out to my dad, he says to me, son, I'm not thrilled with this gay thing, but I'll tell you this. I've always been the black sheep of this family, and now you are. And I said, oh, okay.
So tell us, what are you up to now?
Well, you thought 2020 was bad. Actually, for me, 2020 was nice, other than everyone dying all around the world, which is horrible. But, my job really didn't quit that much. I work at a law firm. I for some reason, three of us went in the office every day. We didn't, we only stopped for like 2 months at the very beginning. And so 2020 was more time at home, with my husband, and because everything else was closed. And he's a dentist, so his office was closed. So we had a nice 2020, and I don't know, something about it was sort of like bonding and reassessing. 2021, on the other hand, was pretty not as nice. So I had this buddy here that I'm staying with, my very best friend in the world. His husband became very ill with cancer just quickly. I find this out. All of a sudden, my job says, hey, the office is, no one's coming in except for you and this other guy. And then we're thinking never to come back. Anyway, I got laid off after 28 years at the firm. So that was tough. It's a big, tough life adjustment. I've had the same job. I was like working at the coal mine or the Ford plant, 28 years, you know? So that was tough. So then my buddy's husband died. I came home to be with him and help him. Then my mother was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. This was all within a 2-week period. Everything was just going fast and furious. And 21 is not playing, man. But, you know, I was telling Ryan yesterday, I don't necessarily ascribe to the theory that everything happens for a reason. I mean, I don't know about that. I'm not so sure about that. I don't think I do. But what I do think is that you can make the best of a bad situation. And also that sometimes there's some serendipity in life about, you know, oh, well, this works out, you know, that sort of thing. The fact that I didn't have a job anymore made it where I could spend a month with my buddy and help him tie up loose ends with his husband, be with him in ICU, help him with his 10-year-old son, all this stuff that was really hard. Go be with my mother for a few weeks. I would have never been able to do any of that. And so I look at that as a very positive thing. And now perhaps some new opportunities, some new adventures, and some learning some new things.
These are so good. These are 2 here.
That's Dad as Lad. That was me at 33. And I was in the game.
Start with the one on the left and then the one on the right.
Oh, I thought I was some hot thing. So I went to a photographer and asked me to take, it was the first time I'd ever had someone take a picture of me, you know, because I don't know. I never even, that's like what movie stars did or something. So I just had a friend who was a professional photographer. He said, I'll take a picture of you. And I said, oh, really? Me? And so it was fun to do.
And where are you? Where was that?
We were at the abandoned, on the beach overlooking the Golden Gate Bridge. There used to be battle armaments there to shoot the Japanese in World War II in case they were to have invaded. They never did, but they were ready. So they had all these sort of like built up things. And so once the war was over, it's just been left abandoned. So people like to go there and, you know, do stuff like this. It's fun.
Well, there's so many things about that photo, including that Speedo is being filled in.
Really that's actually underwear. It was my favorite underwear.
Oh, even better. Okay, so Mrs. Brady, what's up with that?
I was in the gay men's chorus because when I went to San Francisco, I was really sad about leaving the church because, well, they left me, actually. I didn't leave them, but I missed it so much. And I missed the commonality of purpose and the singing, because our church didn't believe in musical instruments, so we all had to sing. We all had to know how to sing, and it was all a cappella, and it was so beautiful. So I joined the gay men's chorus, and it had a lot of the same effect. The singing was beautiful. We were all gay. We had kind of a commonality of purpose there, and it reminded me of church. So most of the time, you know, this, you wouldn't know from this, but it reminded me so much of that. And church was just, it was so important to me. Most of the time I was on stage, I was crying, you know, singing the songs and thinking about that loss. And it reminded me so much. And it was a very therapeutic thing for me. But, you know, people would just be like looking at me like, dude, we're singing some fun song, you're crying up here. So, but anyway, one of the shows we did was a 60s show with Florence Henderson. And I'll tell you this, Mrs. Brady was a randy lady. She got herself a handful there. She reached under there as well.
I was going to say, she's definitely going for it.
She said, you're gay, you don't mind? I said, I don't? You're right, I don't mind. So, you know, I was in costume for something. Like whenever, I thought I was kind of a good singer, but I don't think I was really that good. So I would always like try out for like the solos and stuff. And they'd go, yeah, we're going to have you take off your shirt and go stand over there while everyone sings. And I was like, what? No, I want to sing. And they were like, no. So anyway, this was just one of the shows, and she was in it. And she was absolutely wonderful. And she gave this very impassioned speech about gay rights. And this was like 95. And
awesome.
Oh, everyone was crying. And
awesome.
It was great. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. I love those stories.
I want to say one more thing just about Instagram real fast.
Yeah.
And the reason why I post these pictures and things like that. First of all, I'm 59, I'll be 60 in April. I feel like I work really hard to try and stay in shape. And I think when I was younger, I didn't know a lot of people at this age who didn't look 1,000 years old, and also who kept themselves healthy like that. Also, you know, I don't know how old everyone else is, but you know, there were a lot of people in my generation who did not live to do this. They didn't live to have a fun, happy life. You know, AIDS took so many people, and I'm not saying I post shirtless pictures because people had AIDS. But what I am saying is that as any of us from that generation move forward in our lives, we carry everyone else with us. So whatever we do, I think we try to make it good, the best, whatever, enjoy it, succeed if we can, do whatever for not just ourselves, but for them too. Because, you know, they didn't have this opportunity.
Yeah.
No matter what opportunity it is, travel, you know, anything, just, you know, having a long life and all the things that come with it. And so I think that's one thing that I think about. And
I think I thank you very much for describing that. When I look at your page, you're celebrating being alive. You're having a good time.
Absolutely right.
That, like, what you just said your goal is definitely being achieved from what I see. So thank you for doing that. We've gone way over, but I have one more question about sort of Instagram stuff.
Okay.
That I like to ask a lot of. So guys that of any age that are interested in looking at pages like yours or mine or whoever's, where people are shirtless or trying to be sexy sometimes.
We're at a jock like you at 24/7.
And they're interested in maybe stepping into that game a little bit. Like, any advice for them?
Just if you look like you're having a good time, and if you are having a good time, whatever that is, and whatever presentation you have, everyone celebrates themselves. You don't have to look any certain way. I just think you can see when people are trying to make the most of their life. And, you know, I don't care if it's a picture of your dog, which I love, by the way. I follow so many dog people's pages because I just love seeing dogs, you know, or whatever it is. I say just, you know, be yourself, enjoy your life, and everyone else will enjoy it with you.
Yeah. Y'all, could y'all unmute and let's give Matt a big round of applause. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the conversation.
I did. Thank you very much.